The meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. I don't know. I've never done this before on YouTube. It looks like we're having a little bit of trouble on Facebook and Facebook Live. So I don't know if it's working or not. I think it might be because the screen popped up on mine that says YouTube. Hopefully I don't have to listen to myself. Let's see. Well, yeah, working or not. All right. I think it is working. It is about 6:55 p.m. Friday, the 21st of August. I'm recording this on YouTube, going YouTube Live. I've never done that before, but there seems to be a small problem with our Facebook and Facebook Live, which I think it has to do with some of the security functions of the district that's been putting in place with our technology department. But I know they're working on it, and I know they're trying to do a very good job of getting all those little glitches out that we've been working on this week as far as technology is concerned. With that being said, I'm going to go over a couple of things this evening. Again, I want to thank you very much for chiming in and listening to what I have to say. Let me go. I'm going to share screens with you. Hopefully you can see that screen there. I'm not too sure because I've never done this before. Let me see. No, that was not how I did it. Let me go here. I think that's it right there. Let me make sure. I'm going to wait a little bit. My screen does say live, but let's see. I want to make sure that my screen pops up that you can see. I think it does work. Thank you for being patient and waiting up a little bit. Yay! Okay, so we have here what I'm going to go over today. Again, this is just an update. And what I'd like to remind everybody, we are working with our school messenger system that sends out messages to our parents and our staff. Make sure that you type the word yes to the number 67587. Again, it's really important that you type yes or you type the word Y to the number 67587. I am going to go to the next screen. Just a reminder that we do have the PEBT deadline is today, according to the Texas State Department of Health and Human Services website. This is a link, and I'm going to go here. It's yourtexasbenefits.com learn PEBT, and I'm going to wait till it scrolls a little bit. Okay, here we are. So today is the deadline. It doesn't show that on here, but it is today. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at that and hit next, we'll just see what happens here. It'll start asking you the questions, so go ahead and do that. Today is the deadline, so I wanted to remind you guys about that. The other thing we're going to go over today, which is going to be a little bit longer than I thought, is going to be let me see here. We have a document that is called the rights and responsibilities of our students. Okay, and it's for parents too as well. But it's things that school districts are doing to ensure that we're doing the very best for our kids. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to stop sharing this screen here. New share over here. So I'm thinking you can see that. All right. So we have here a document that is the educational rights and responsibilities during COVID-19. And it basically says, as a result of COVID-19, many families must make decisions about their children's education that factor in students' and family safety as well as students' learning. This flyer is intended to outline some of the options parents have when returning to school and share some information regarding those options. Okay, we've already started school. TEA put this document out, I believe, last Thursday. I hadn't read it too much at the time, and it's 2 pages, and it's in English and Spanish, and so it is on the website, and I'll show you where it's at here in a little bit. But it just tells us, reducing the risk of COVID-19 on campus, COVID-19 is a risk of staff, students, and families. Your school, our school, will take the steps to reduce that risk to the extent possible, including keeping individuals who have the virus or recently exposed to the virus off campus. That's kind of why we had asked, even before this document came out, that if there's somebody in your family who's being tested, that we keep those students at home, even though it may not have been the student who's being tested, but it is somebody in the family, in the household. So that is something that's extremely important. This means that you are required to keep your child off campus if they have any symptoms of COVID-19, and those symptoms are on our website and other places, and I'll show you where all this information is at after I go over this document. We are to restrict access to learning on campus in 3 cases. In other words, there's really 3 cases why we cannot have classes on campus. And one of the things, if there's a phase-in school start, depending on how many COVID cases we have in our county and how many different things are going on. And so right now we don't have that phase-in period. We gave people an option whether they can do remote or on campus. At some point, your child may be required to temporarily switch to remote instruction, prevent the spread of virus, even if you want your child to be educated on campus. So what that basically means is this, is that let's just say there's somebody in the household that is being tested for coronavirus, or they may have traveled to a country like Mexico or Canada, or to other hotspots in Texas or any parts of the United States that are prone to a lot of coronaviruses. We will ask that the child stay at home for 14 days. Now, a lot of times the school doesn't know what's going on, and people aren't very honest with the school about certain situations of their traveling, where they've traveled and where they've been. And so a lot of it is on the honor system. And so we're doing our very best. We just appreciate all of you that have been honest with us and let us know what's going on. And unfortunately, we can't share a lot of information with a lot of people, but due to the privacy rights that students have in our district. And so, and in all schools. And then there's some other situations where high school students may be required due to the fact that TEA and the government feels that high school students are a little bit more prone and a little bit better accustomed to online learning. But right now, we're not restricting anybody except for if we feel that we've been informed that somebody in the household is testing, or that the child is testing, or the staff is being tested for coronavirus. We do have things in place, such as quarantining at home for at least 14 days, or that we get a cleared a test from, for example, here at the hospital or the clinics, where we get back and they say this person is negative and they're good to go. So we require students, staff, and visitors, including students, families, to adopt some new practices to reduce COVID-19 spread, including, in most cases, wearing a mask. This may mean that your child will be required to wear masks to attend schools on campus. And we have done that. And today I went to some of the schools, and I will tell you, I'm proud of the students of the classes I went to at the intermediate school, middle school, and high school. You guys are wearing your masks, and so I do appreciate that. Thank you, parents, for encouraging their students to do that. And I think for the most part, the students, they're pretty easy to do that. So I think sometimes as adults, we kind of get accustomed to changing our habits. As far as on-campus or remote instruction, remember, every student also has the option to stay home, or they can go to school. It's real simple, okay? You have that option. You can change that option if you'd like to as well. You're not required to come to school unless you feel that you need to, or there's things that aren't allowing you to access the school information and learning that you need to do at home. So you do have that option. Again, choices for families. Families do have the option. Many schools accept student transfers for remote instruction. That's in some schools, believe it or not, they're not offering remote instruction. They are saying you must come to school. Some schools are doing that. Fort Stockton ISD is not one of those schools. We understand and we respect their rights and privacy, and the judgment call that some parents have to make as far as their family and what's going on at home. And we are not going to do that for you. We know that you guys can make the best decision for your families. And so because of that, we are allowing parents to make that decision. Not all school districts are doing that, okay? So, but we are, all right? With some exceptions, your student must attend at least 90% of their daily classes. with the learning that we have at home, we have had to address some things, for students who are receiving instruction remotely. So we are addressing some things with that, and I'll go over that in here in a little bit. But we are encouraging parents to be patient with us. We learned a lot the first 2 weeks, and then we learned a lot more after those 3 days we didn't have students, but we had professional development. And so we just kind of talk amongst ourselves and some of our teachers and staff to kind of figure out what is working, what's not working. So we are doing that, and so I'll go over that here in a little bit. And then on the next page of this document, it just gives you reminders. What do you do? What we do outside of school will affect whether we can go to school. That is so true. Let me read that again. What we do outside of school will affect whether we can go to school. We've had several instances where students and or staff members, more students than anything, are not considering what is going on in the world today. And so they're not maintaining social distancing, and they're not wearing a mask, and they are getting together, and they are hanging out. And it has not been a good thing for Fort Stockton ISD. It just isn't a good thing because people are getting sick. People are not listening. Kids, getting together and doing some things that probably aren't the very best things so that we can minimize people getting sick. We can't control what happens outside, but I will tell you what people do outside of our school does affect us tremendously. We can keep our schools clean, and we can keep our settings and social distancing and wearing a face mask. But unfortunately, all that we do in schools to keep people healthy, safe, and clean, sometimes the outside activities limits a lot of things that happens in the school and makes things a lot harder for us. And so that is a true statement. I'm glad TEA put that on there because that is true. Wear a mask. You may have to stay home if you have symptoms. If you were recently exposed, stay home. If you're waiting for a test results, stay home. So we put all of that on our website. Those things are there. I'm not going to go over any. I've never done that before. I couldn't even tell you what I just did, so I'm sorry for that. I put like a comment or something. So let me show you where that document is at. It's in English and Spanish. I'm going to close this. Nope. I'm going to do a new share. Okay. Let me come here. Go here. I'm going to do a new share. Okay. So here's the website where there's a new share. I'm thinking that's the right website. Let's see. New share. Yes. This is our school's website. If you go here, it does have the educational rights and responsibilities right there. You click on it, and there we are. There's the document I was just showing you. It's in English and in Spanish. It will also go out with the progress reports next week. I think it's progress reports next week. So there's all the other information there. There's the reopening plan, which was posted on July 24th. There is one change to returning from international travel. So I'm going to click on this. A lot of people didn't realize that traveling to Mexico was international travel. Okay, so for some of you who didn't know that, if you travel to Mexico or Canada or a COVID-19 hotspot in Texas, United States, you have to quarantine for 14 days, including Mexico. And I'm a little worried about that because Labor Day weekend is around the corner, and a lot of people go to Mexico. And I get it; we see family and we do things like that. But I'm telling you now, if we have knowledge of students who went to Mexico or families, they will have to quarantine for 14 days upon arrival back in Fort Stockton. So that was added this week because we had a lot of questions. People didn't realize that international travel meant Mexico. We had some confusion with parents who were saying, well, I didn't fly. It wasn't international travel. When you go outside of the country, international travel travel is going outside of the country. So that's there. It's in English and Spanish. Or some other links there. It was updated this week for that. to help with the confusion of what international travel meant. So let me say this again. If you go to Mexico or Canada or any other country or a Texas hotspot or United States where there's a lot of COVID-19, you will be required to quarantine for 14 days, according to the CDC, Centers for Disease Control guidelines. And so um, be thinking about that because Labor Day is coming up, and we know that a lot of people go to Mexico and visit family like that during Labor Day weekend. You might want to Zoom or Skype or FaceTime with your family members. I know that you want to see your family. I get that, and want to have get-togethers, and I get that. We're just asking that people be considerate with what's going on, and that we do the very best we can to keep our staff and students safe. All right, so that was an update. I wasn't planning to go over that, but I'm glad I saw it. And then there's a school calendar, the remote learning schedules, the backpack, and all this information is still here. Okay. Just a reminder, we may be asking some of you guys to fill out the income verification form and the immunization shots verification form. So all that is there. I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to go back to my screen. Stop sharing. All right. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense to you guys. I'm going to go next to learning. Yay for learning. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this over so I can see it. All right. I wanted to share with you guys that last week, after visiting with principals and after visiting with teachers and parents and listening to a lot of what parents were concerned about, we did learn that we were addressing the issue of learning. And so we know that we are getting better at it. Starting Monday, I know there's a lot of our teachers who've already started where they're going to be using the tools that we have through our technology department as far as Google Meets and Zooming and interacting with our students a lot more during their class time. So we're asking our parents and our teachers and our kids, especially our students at home, that school time should be the same time that we are learning at home and at school. And TEA and I think the intent of what we're supposed to do is that people want us to do is the fact that they want us to be able to teach our kids like if they were at school. So we are very fortunate and blessed to have a wonderful technology department, to have the technology we have to be able to do those things. And so we've ordered a lot of cameras, a lot of equipment, and hopefully by Monday, a lot of instruction that we'll be doing will be a lot more in sync and I guess live virtually with our parents and our kids and our students and our teachers. So that is coming around the corner on Monday. A lot of teachers already started that. So we are very thankful for that. We're thankful that we're getting better every week, every day, and we're thankful for you guys being patient. So shout out to the teachers and the principals and the technology department and counselors and all those people who are making things work. So we do appreciate that. And again, thank you to all the people who are cleaning. The teachers are cleaning, custodians are cleaning, maintenance are cleaning, educators, counselors, principals, secretaries, nurses. All you guys are out there, the wonderful food staff who are being extra careful with how we're serving our wonderful students at the school. We still have curbside service. We still have lunch. We still have breakfast. We're still serving all our students and doing the very best we can. And so we do thank you for being patient with us. One of the things we are going to go over next week, probably early, is how we're going to handle games. We learned a lot yesterday from the scrimmage at the Panther Stadium. And so working with the high school staff and Coach Peters and Mr. Rivera, the maintenance director, I think we can come up with a plan to kind of do things a little bit different. It'll be close to what we did for graduation. Graduation worked out well, although we planned a lot of things going into graduation. And we look back and I remember us talking, saying graduation was going to be probably the least of our problems that we knew. And so sure enough, here we are. We are looking at doing similar things that we did for graduation. So be patient with us. Hopefully we'll have something out for you guys early in the week to inform you guys. I know there's a lot of questions about that, and I will tell you this: times are different, and so that means things will be different. All right, and so I know that there's a lot of things we will be doing different that we've never done before, and so we will do the very best that we can. Number one, safety is important. Number two, we understand that there's some things out there that our kids are doing, and so we do have to look to see how we can best modify the things we're used to doing to be able to do things that are safe for everybody. And so be prepared. Next week we'll have as much as we can put together. Now, I will promise you, just like anything else, we may start something on a Monday, Tuesday, then we realize, oh, we're not able to do that. We may have to tweak some things. Okay, so we're tweaking things as we go. I do know we are planning on broadcasting the game live. That's something that the technology department, we've done something like that before. We did graduation that way. So we'll be working hard this week with our technology department and the high school staff to make sure that we can get all that done. They're wonderful people there. I know they can do it. We've done it. So thank you for what they're going to do ahead of time, and thank you for being patient. The other thing I want to remind you guys, in your parent portal, those of you who registered your students, if you go into parent portal, there's a way to set up alerts for your children as far as grades and absences and things like that. So uh, Mr. Sanchez with the technology department is going to make a quick video this week, kind of showing parents how to do the alerts in parent portal, like we used to have alerts before in school in grade book, and so he'll be doing that. The other thing is, I know that Mr. Alvarado wants to let you guys know that he is working on the schedule changes. There's quite a bit of schedule changes and things, so please be patient. Hopefully, we get all that out next week as well. And so everybody's been working. It's just a different way of doing things, and so we do want to thank you guys for being patient with us. Lastly, before I let you want to go, I do want to go back to some of the issues and concerns that a lot of people had last week. We have had coronavirus in our schools. We knew it was going to happen. It's something I knew there's no way we could have avoided. It was going to happen. It doesn't matter what we do, how much cleaning, all the mask wearing, all the social distancing, all the reminders of how to stay safe and how to keep healthy. But I will tell you, I know that we knew it was going to happen, and so it has. I will tell you some good things that have happened. We had a staff member who was working close with some other staff members on a campus, and that staff member, we had a staff member who tested positive, and the staff member worked with a lot of people on that campus, and some other people who worked with that person were tested and they were negative. And I will tell you why they were negative. They were negative because they did the things they were supposed to do. They washed their hands. They didn't share drinks, and they didn't be around each other within 6 feet. They were wearing their mask and washing their hands, and they were doing their very best not to socialize because it's real easy. We're in schools, and we're all about socializing in schools, and so we have some good things going on. So yes, we do have coronavirus, and yes, we have a lot of things in place that have kept people healthy and safe. And so I want to applaud our staff and our students who are doing that. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have people who, have coronavirus who come in our schools, whether it's a student, whether it's a staff member. But I would tell you, there are in situations where there are people who may have been in close contact with other people who may have COVID-19 or coronavirus, and they've been tested negative. And again, I want to reassure you, it's because of a lot of safety measures that we have in place at schools. Does that mean that we're going to be 100% COVID-19 free? No. I, I'd be a school our size, that's probably impossible. Especially with a lot of things that happens outside of school that are way beyond our control. And so there's things that out there that people do that sometimes isn't the very best for us. So, lastly, the other thing I want to mention, there was concerns about, well, how do we know if we've been exposed or not? So I will tell you this. This is what I've learned this week about notifications and being exposed. There's kind of several different ways that people will inform people being exposed. Number one, when somebody does get tested and they're positive, whether it's the doctor's office, hospital, the local emergency management services, I would consider them our local health authority per se, but Mr. Dominguez. And there's also epidemic investigators who work from the Texas Department of Health and Safety Services. I may not be saying that, but it's DISH's website, or Texas DISH's, DSHS. And so they work with CDC, and what they do is they question these people and say, hey, tell us who you were around, tell us where you were at, what do you think you got it from, all these questions. And they make a judgment call based upon that, of the people that that person should notify, and or who the epidemic investigators notify or the health service department notifies. And so it is a responsibility of that person to cooperate with those people and let them know who they're in contact with. It was important for them to cooperate and be honest about what was happening and where they were at and who they talked to and what they did. Unfortunately, sometimes people do not have to be honest, and they will say things that probably isn't the truth, or just not say anything at all. And so we're at that mercy. And so we're asking that people, first of all, put all the safety measures in place that you can. Wash your hands, um, wear a mask, try not to socialize, because we know there's a good chance that if we don't do those things, we're going to get more COVID-19 in our schools. So going back to the people who, how do you know if you were exposed or not? I will tell you this. It is, from what I've understand, is that the person who is positive has an obligation to inform those people who they felt they were in close contact with. If it's a little child, it's that responsibility falls onto the parents. It also can come from the epidemic investigators. It can also come from the local health authorities, the emergency management service people, and or local health, like a doctor's office and what have you. But ultimately, the responsibility is that person who is tested positive. Ultimately, it is that person's responsibility, and they'll be informed from the epidemic investigators. Say, hey, you might want to tell these people. Hey, you might want to tell that people. But I will tell you now, we've had situations in our schools where we've had people test positive, and there's other people around them who were, working with them, around them, being around them, and who were tested, and they are negative. And a lot of it has to do with the safety measures that are in place. So I will tell you that it's very important that people stay doing the things they're doing. Try not to go out and have a good time and go out and socialize in huge groups, because that's going to be an issue for schools. We're trying to do the very best to keep it out. So yes, every time someone is positive, we have to send out a letter. We have to email a letter, send it through text messages and emails and a phone call. If you need a letter, you say, I don't get the text message or I don't get the email, call your school and say, hey, I need a letter, and they can mail one to you. But again, we're just doing the very best we can in a situation with the craziness. Let me see what else. I think that's about it I have. So, like I said, I'm going to go back to the issues like, the school has a responsibility to inform us, and we have a right to know who's exposed and not. And I agree that, but I also understand that there's certain rules in place that the epidemic investigators come into play when someone is tested positive for COVID-19, and as far as the responsibilities of that person and the investigators and the local health authorities to help figure out who may have been exposed. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go over the few ways we can be exposed. If somebody sneezes on you, coughs on you, licks your right ear or your left ear without hugs you, sneezes on you, those kinds of things, it shakes your hand and then you rub your eyes and things like that. That's all considered close contact. And so that's what we're trying to tell people. You wear a mask, you wash your hands, you put on hand sanitizer. So we're asking people to do those things. So close contact is somebody sneeze on you, cough on you, breathe on you, those kinds of things without a mask or a shield. The other way that's considered close contact is being within 6 feet of people for longer than 15 minutes in a situation. But the things that they are telling us is that we have to consider, were they wearing a mask? Were they wearing a shield? Was there proper ventilation? Things like that. Because that will also minimize. Because I have to be honest with you, we had some people who were probably within that 6 feet and were working together, but because they wore their protective gear, their face shield, or their mask, that they did not get COVID-19. So it is possible to be healthy, with around people that you may not even know, because those masks are saving people's lives. They're keeping people healthy, and we know that because we experience it here at the schools. And so I will tell you, please, 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 please do your very best to do that at home. Will you stay home? If you're sick, let the school know. If you think someone in the household is testing positive or testing, period, let the school know. Let us know what's going on so we can work with you to have your kid to be at home learning. We will work with you. Okay. That being said, I apologize for Facebook not working in my district office computer. I don't know what the deal is, but I had someone say, "Well, it works on my phone." You know what? Great. What we plan to do is post this video on Facebook Live and on our website. So, thank you very much. I don't know if I can figure. I'm gonna try to figure out how I can end this meeting. So, let me see what I can do. Let me close this. I'm gonna say bye. Uh, Stop there. I'm gonna say and stop live stream. You stream on YouTube. Copy stream and leave stop. Okay. You guys have a good day. Thank you. Good night. Good evening. Be safe. Wear a mask. And I'll see you next week. Bye bye.